collaborates to construct industrial parks in counties. Under this project, the national government commits to providing Kenya shillings 250 million, which each county government also contributes an equal amount of Kenya shillings 250 million. In total, the allocated budget for each county to establish this industrial park amounts to Kenya shillings 500 million. The targeted number of counties in FY 2023-24 is 18 number of them. However, there is a prioritization system in place. These counties that are able to provide their share of Kenya shillings 250 million first will be given priority by the national government to receive the disbursement of Kenya shillings 250 million. This model operates on first come, first served basis. The one village, one project, which is OVUP initiative, has a projected cost of Kenya shillings 2.9 billion. It aims to implement 100 sub-projects in various locations across the country, with the ultimate goals of generating employment opportunities and promoting value addition at the local level. To achieve this objective, the project will provide entrepreneurs in rural areas with essential machinery and equipment required for small-scale industries. Notably, these machineries and equipment will be offered as grants. The project has no proposed allocation in FY 2023-24 budget estimate. Chair, allow me to take you to Kirudi. Kirudi is Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute. Project commenced in March 2013, originally slated for completion in March 2016. However, the project current completion level stands at 79.5%. Initially budgeted at Kenya shilling 4.3 billion. The project cost has been revised to Kenya shillings 5.4 billion, following a financial appraisal, and the project has already reached the maximum allowable project valuation of 25% in accordance with Section 159 of the Public Procurement and Hazard Disposal Act. To date, Kenya shillings...
Chairman, let me cut you short. What you may consider doing,
yeah,
some of them, because I know you know all these things.
Yes, so
you may highlight them.
I may not...
yeah,
okay.
You can just highlight the main
just
points.
highlight without...
All of them, but you just highlight the important things on each bullet.
Well guided. Chair, on that area of killed chair, you realize in this financial year budget, we are only able to get 325 million for that development sector, and therefore, according to the demands were about 1.3 billion. Then there is at least a deficit of about 800. And moving to Rivertex, Rivertex chair is one of the industries that actually has been concentrating to harness cottons for value addition. And chair, this particular factory is of big essential, considering that in fact it is networking with various number of markets outside this country, with China and USA, and as well as their business base is going to expand. Chair, there is a serious demand that they cannot be able to access those markets without accreditation. That accreditation, which Chair, will require this particular factory to at least garner roughly 600 million to allow them finalize the modernization of this industry, and then therefore they can buy number of equipment to allow them get this assurance of this accreditation. Kenya's is Kenya's accreditation service, Chair, that actually offers their services of accreditation. For them to maximize, Chair, they also require a number of support. This particular agency, Chair, have committed themselves that if they can be assisted with at least 109 million share, they can be able to do whatever is necessary for them. And in this particular financial budget, they have 50,000 or 50 million already budgeted for, and they were looking for the deficit of 59 share. Moving to the SMEs here, this is another most important department in our structures of government. And Chair, you remember very well, we have a new baby, of which I and you are part of these promises to the Hazardous Nation. And this is the Hazardous Fund. Hazardous Fund, this financial year, Chair, has been budgeted for Kenya shillings 11 million and 10 million, and therefore, comparing that, actually we have a commitment of 50 billion. It is still that actually we have not been able to raise the gap, and therefore there's still some deficits there. In that particular aspect, remember that is where we have various number of funds. These are Women Fund, Youth Fund, and Universal Fund. Chair, none of these particular areas were able to achieve the targeted resources in this financial year. And Chair, moving to the State Department for Investment and Promotion, this is another sector where, Chair, you realize that the pillar towards our economic pillars is based here. This is where we have EPZ, Chair, and you remember very well that actually the EPZ providing bring us with what we call a neighboring environment for those investors who does processing of materials here and then it does export outside this country. Chair, we have shortage of what we call shades for these particular works, and therefore this particular sector of EPZ also requires some top-ups, considering that this financial year they have been factored about 1.3 billion, but you realize, Chair, according to the large base of their need, there was a lot of deficit. Chair, we have CESA. CESA is Special Economic Zone, and Chair, I want just to remind you that we have at least 2 pending projects that are ongoing, but of which are moving with a very low pace. And Chair, there's an important for us to look for a mechanism on how we can maximize and fund these 2 projects to completion. This is Naivasha, a Special Economic Zone, and Chair, the committee was able to visit to tour this project, and we realized, Chair, as much as we have investors in this particular site, investors that have done very magnitude of work, some of them are just about to complete their structures of business, but Chair, there is a dire need to put some money here because there is no access roads inside this park. As these investors are going to complete their sites and their business empires, Chair, there is that serious need to make sure that actually the connection of power, connection of water, and Chair, the road networks, access roads are done to access to this site. Remember, Chair, we have also a one center stop center, which is ongoing and which is almost at 70% complete, Chair, but without enough funds, nothing much can. In this financial year, Chair, this particular ZES has able to get 500 million, and Dogokundu, Chair, we also remember that it is also another very important park that we intend to bring up, and with the support of JICA, Chair, you remember that we have 59 billion Kenya shillings. That is JICA donor funding. But Chair, from our side, remember we have not committed any single money, and in this particular financial year, we have only put 50 million in this particular area. I just want to remind members very quickly that, in fact, whatever is being funded by JICA is not part of what is the interior industrial park. Their services will end up at the boundaries. If it is power, they will bring power all the way from Militini and station to the water substation at the boundary. the water will be brought up to the point where the border point, and therefore need to have money for construction. We have at least one-stop center which is coming up, but it will restore, considering that there is no UK funding in this particular financial year. Those other important areas of concern, that is connection of water, connection of power, and also access roads inside are there, and therefore there is a serious need also of putting something there to make that project going. Chair, let me move to what we call committee recommendations. And in this particular area, Chair, there is a list that the committee has proposed as their recommendations, and I ask you to move to page 19, and Chair, we can together be there. Chair, allow me to go to the justifications.
Chair,
yes.
Maybe briefly, you may also highlight this non-financial recommendation, just highlighting, because they may have an implication on the financial ones.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, allow me just to read briefly. In order to enhance to the effectiveness of the trade missions abroad, it is crucial for the Ministry overseeing these missions to undertake significant reforms. The committee recommends an assessment to determine if there is linkage between the foreign markets and the skills possessed by the attaches. Chair, you remember that in this particular area, we have attaches which are already attached to those foreign countries, but to the assessment of the members of the Trade Committee, we realize that these particular attaches have no business there. They have no job. They are not committed to any job, and therefore that is why the members are asking the linkages. We realize that we keep budgeting, and the budgets that we just put into that particular area, it seems to be going to drain if those particular attaches have no business they're doing. Also realize that, Chair, we have another very important saga, which is Kiproba, which does the same similar work. And Chair, we were asking this important department to see how which is of their important, whether we can streamline to expand Kiproba, or whether they can call back the attaché if there is no enough commitment for them there abroad, since they still keep on consuming from Exchequer. Chair, you realize, according to those other additional interests, is that this particular trade department are under negotiations with new areas of bilateral agreements, and these are United Arab Emirates and European, Indonesia, and many others. And therefore, there was need to check on how to facilitate them to get to their dreams. Chair, moving now to the list of the recommendation, Chair, let me move to now page 19 and allow me to go to the justifications. Chair, there is a reduction of Kenya shillings. This is from comparative department and management, and there is a reduction of Kenya shillings 74 million from the modernization of Pavi cotton ginnery. Once the State Department reports on the progress with the Kenya shillings, 100 million for that is left for the project. More funds will be. That, Chair, it is self-explanatory that the total amount was 174, and the committee's wisdom decided to leave at least in the kitty 100, and just to observe the absorbment of this, and therefore later we can put some more money on that. On comparative development and management, marketing value addition of research, that's coffee industry revitalization. Chair, we have reduction of Kenya shillings 125 million from the coffee industry revitalization program. The committee recommends a review of the implementation of this project. The current implementation is not making an impact in reviving the coffee industry. Chair, in that particular area, according to the items or equipment that are prioritized to be bought, these are laptops, things like weigh scales and some other simple equipment. And the reason of the committee is that that one will not give any significant impact in that particular area, and therefore they need to relook and come up with new revitalization area of concern. Chair, in the G20, there is international trade, development and promotion, market diversifications and access, foreign trade services. Reduction of Kenya shillings 100 million from the extra allowances of trade attaches. There are no measurable returns from learning the trade mission offices abroad. The committee recommends that the offices should be reformed to achieve value for money. I have explained that, Chair. Allow me to move to the next one. This is General Administration Planning and Support Services. In this General Administration Planning and Support Services, Chair, there is a deduction of Kenya shillings 222 million from the headquarters offices, which has an allocation of Kenya shillings 641.7 and a reallocation to the State Department for Trade for Industry, which will fund the offices of the CS following reorganization within the ministry, as well as M&E for the value chain model. Chair, you realize that money we have just that particular figure, we have just mentioned it in our observation, and it was a very big, huge amount, and therefore, when we did ask about it, then the justification, that's when the ministry decided that the money that is purely to serve the CS, he may be comfortable that money to be reorganized to be put in the Department of Industry. And Chair, there is a portion which also went to M&E. Chair, 21, we have product and market development of MSMEs. And Chair, there is a deduction of Kenya shillings 334 million from the industrial credit project in KIE. The project offers loans 10% per year in the manufacturing sector. What is recovered can be issued to borrowers and the funding. In this particular case, Chair, you realize we have not touched the money for operations. And what we have touched here is that since this particular saga does what we call reading, and they also earn 10% out of this, we want just to make sure that this particular saga is more committed, and we just want to see the interest that they raise out of this actually can be plowed back and also become a sum to capital for lending. And Chair, allow me to move to Investment Department and promotion. This is Business Environment and Investment Promotion, Export Processing Zones Authority. Reduction of Kenya shillings for 12 million from EPCDA. This, Chair, is just part of topping up to this particular Investment Promotion Department is a new department, Chair, and you realize this department has no offices, and where they have rented, Chair, they have no petitions, and they have no even furnitures, and therefore, because the budget that was set aside could not be able to make them reach their goals, Actually, they had a deficit of 200,000 something million, but Chair, we could not do much. That's why we have tried to check within their sagas where they can get something out of it. And Chair, we are able to raise about in total 100 million out of that, and that's why the reduction from EPZ are coming up. Chair, allow me to move to page 22. And Chair, very quickly, I'll move to cooperative development and management. This is a new KPCU. Chair, in this particular page, this is proposed committee increase on the proposed FY 2023-2024, Chair. And new KPCU, there's an increase of 100 million, Chair, and this is we are moving to what we call marketing, because this particular saga, Chair, is looking for new marketing, and they have cited USA, Belgium, United Arab Emirates, and the Republic of South Korea as part of them, and therefore that allowance will enable them to at least maneuver their goals. Chair, let me move.
Chairman, as you continue, maybe your class can check on that particular line. Recurrent is changing, and yet there is no. I mean, both recurrent and developments are changing. Yet I see it's only recurrent that you have placed some 100 million. On this particular one, if you check, the proposed is 1.827 billion.
She has confirmed the mistake there. I think Chair will correct.
Oh, it's a typo?
Yes, that's a typo.
On what? On development or on recurrent?
On development.
Okay.
Because the money is recurrent.
So on development, it remains 309?
Yes, 309.
Okay.
Chair, allow me to move to vote number 1174, State Department of Trade. This is...
Sorry, Chairman, we don't usually interrupt.
We want us to...
But on the same,
yes,
recurrent is adding by 100 million. So ordinarily that would be 1.927, but that's not the case. I hope you get what my concern is. You seem to reallocate 100 million, but the figure from proposed to the revised
this will be how much?
Is not giving the correct figure still.
Chair, I think you need to explain the table. We have the proposed figures, recurrent development. The middle column is just indicating the increase. Because I'm saying this is just the increase, then the figure is brought here. Then the development moves from 309 to 409. And then recurrent also has increased from 1827 to 1901. So on development, there is no indication of the increase on development. Yet the figure has changed. So explain the table so that we can follow you through.
Chair, if you go to column 1, this is exactly what is our budget line. And moving to increased amount by committee, then you realize these are proposals. Yes, 100 million. Of course, the figures are not tallying because it should lead 1.927, Chair. For the development should be 309, Chair, not 49. Yes. Chair, allow me to move to the central planning and project monitoring unit. This is under the General Administration Planning and Support Services. It's a Department of Trade. And an increase of Kenya shillings 150 million for monitoring and evaluation of the value chain. The State Department does market research as the commencement of the value chain as well as the marketing at the end of the value chain. This gives the State Department an advantage, and they are better placed to report on the progress of the model. Chair, in this one, just to elaborate a bit, is that this Department of Trade, it does a lot in this area, because you realize they are the people who are doing the marketing, and in the marketing they have knowledge of what qualities are required, and therefore they should not operate from a single department or a ministry. They are scattered to all the ministries that does this value chain, so that they can be able to give advice to what kind of quality we need from either the or all the other kind of value chain sectors. So, Chair, that is why we are looking for that kind of facilitation for monitoring those particular areas locally here and also in the area of marketing, Chair. Chair, page 23, Chair, allow me to move to the standards and quality infrastructure. This is enhancement of accreditation program. An increase of Kenya shillings 50 million to facilitate the completion of phase 1 of the enhancement of the accreditation program in Kenya. This is I have just alluded this before, Chair, and this is Kenya's. And Kenya's were looking for 109 million, and in our budget line they have 50, and therefore this 50 is also to top up their need of 109, and therefore, Chair, with 100, we expect that at least they can be able to move on. Chair, the next one is numerical machines complex. Chair, I want to explain a bit about this very quickly. This one, we look for this particular increase of Kenya shillings 200 million. This is purely to go to an area of development, take into consideration that, Chair, as explained there, this NMC, they have 1,200 acres in this city, around Mafoko here, around behind airport there, on your way to the river. And, Chair, there has been an encroachment. Half of this land is already taken away, and high-rise buildings are already put in place. Chair, we note that the wisdom of members is that failure to take any intervention in this particular land, you realize the whole land of the 1.2 acres will move to drain. And therefore, the serious need to put some money there just to make sure that we secure that remaining land of 600 acres before it is also being encroached to. So that is the essence of that consideration, Chair. Moving to the next one, Chair, you realize there is a general administration providing a support service and an increase of Kenya shillings 100 million for the enhancement of the operations and maintenance. This is as a result of the reorganization of the ministry. This is the money I have talked, which we have just reallocated from the trade ministry, trade department, now to the sister department, which is the Department of Industry. And that money is purely for the CS administration. Moving on, Chair, allow me to move to the other one, which is vote 1176, State Department of MSC's department. And there, Chair, there is an increase of Kenya shillings 100 million for the enforcement of WESO fund to enable the fund to achieve more impact. This one, Chair, You realize in this budget financial year, we had 92 million allocated for this particular purpose as a development fund for UESO fund. And to the reasonable of the members, they felt that that money was too little, and if it's going to be shareable to the 290 constituency chair, it was very minimal. And through that wisdom, that's why they have just made an increment of 100 to have total 192 million chair. Page 24 chair, we have still MSMEs, and this is CIDCs. CID's chair, this is a known case chair. I remember also last time you indicated that in fact you have this facility at your constituency, but it's running idle. Chair, in this financial year budget, you realize at least there is 172 money for development, and we made just a top up of 10 million just to make it 182, and we said at least 90% of this money will move to equipping these already complete facilities. Chair. Moving to this is vote 1177 promotion, and here, Chair, an increase of Kenya shillings 100 million for office partitioning. Chair, this is what I've just explained there before, and I have just explained that actually this is a new department, and at least, Chair, they are moving to a rented space, Chair, where no partitioning is there and no furniture. And the allocation for this financial year was about 200 million, and actually we are looking for 400. Therefore, there was a deficit of 50% of it. Chair, that's why we have just reallocated 100 million to that effect, Chair, so that in fact that office can be operational. Chair, the